Hi there! In today's video, I would like to build another WordPress plugin with the help of ChatGPT. This time it's going to be a form encryption plugin. So I would like to have a form on my WordPress website where the user can type in some secret message and then send it with the form. But now, normally the form data will be saved in the database in plain text and sent to the email in plain text as well. But I want to encrypt it with an asymmetric encryption so that I can encrypt it with one key but then decrypt with another key. So I will have the secret key and the public key will be on the server. So if the website gets hacked or the email gets hacked, the hacker doesn't get access to the actual data that was sent in the form. Unless, of course, they hack my personal computer as well. So let's start to write this. So I think we will start with the encryption. So of course we are creating a WordPress plugin, so we're working with PHP. So I will ask ChatGPT to create a PHP class that has 3 methods. So I need to create public and private keys. I need to be able to encrypt with the public key and decrypt with the private key. So let's do that. All right, let's see what it comes up with. All right, so this first function seems to do what I asked it to do. So it creates the new key and then it exports the private key out of this res, I guess, a resource. So I think this will include both the public and the private key. And this one will extract the private key into a variable called private key. And then it will save it as the private key. And then the public key is going to be fetched with this function. So again, it gets it from the resource. And that will be an array with the key that will contain the public key. And then it will return an array. This is the private key and this is the public key. Okay. And then we have an encrypt method that takes the data to encrypt and a public key. And then it encrypts the data with the public key into a variable called encrypted. And then it returns base64 encoded version of the encrypted text. And decrypt just takes the data and the private key, decodes the encrypted data, and then decrypts the data into a decrypted variable. Great, that should work. There's more. But wait, there's more. This shows you how you can use it. Okay, so you initiate the class, you create the keys, and you get the keys from the array. You get some data that you want to encrypt, then you encrypt it, and here you can decrypt it. Okay, so let's put this code into a file. All right, here we have it in a file. Now let's test that this actually works. Now, we could test it by putting this code in a file, but one cool thing about ChatGPT is that it can actually write unit tests. So let's try to tell it to write unit tests for this class. Right, here we go. So the first test is that it will create keys that are strings. Okay. Test, encrypt, decrypt. So it will do exactly what it did here. So let's copy this code and write a test. I need to add this use statement here. So now let's run this test and see if it works. All right, it named the class encryption tests, but I just saved the file as encryption test. So I will just remove the S from the end. And of course, I have to include the encryption class here. So let's do that. Now, in a previous video, I did my own autoloader for my own classes, but then someone in the comments pointed out that I could use Composer to do that. So let's try and do that now. I have never done that with my own classes. I've just used Composer with other people's classes, but I know you can use it with your own classes as well. So let's do that. So here first I will require the vendor autoload. Well, now GitHub Copilot is suggesting that I include just this encryption, but I want to use Composer. So instead of that, I will do vendor autoload. Great. So I guess I have to do Composer init. Let me ask Mr. ChatGPT. I put the class in src/encryption.php. I would like to use Composer to autoload classes from the src folder. How can I do that? Alright, here we have the instructions on how to do it. So we have to create a composer.json file. So let's do that. So this will tell Composer to autoload PSR4 style, I guess everything from src. I don't know what that means. Why is the key to src empty? Ah, it's the namespace prefix. Okay. It's such a cool thing when you can ask stuff like this from ChatGPT. Like, how would I have Googled this? And actually, I think we should add some namespacing so that it's not going to conflict with some other WordPress plugin. So let's do that. Let's call it WP Form Encryptor. What it was? Like this? Okay. And then I will change this namespace. Great. And I will tell ChatGPT so that it knows. Alright, so now it will show me how my Composer file should look like. It does what I already did. Now, I think I have to put this in the test file as well. So, should this work now? Let's try. Let's run PHPUnit again. Well, I didn't create the autoload file and I didn't dump the autoload. So, okay, let's do this. We have to run this command first, and it will create the vendor folder here. And there we have the autoloaded. Okay, now it should work. Yay! All tests passed. Except we got some kind of warning. We get this warning because I'm running the PHPUnit from user bin. I don't have permission to write in that folder. So let's make a settings file for PHPUnit so that it will write it in this folder. Alright, so I asked it also to put this bootstrap here so that I don't have to require the vendor autoload in every test. Alright, so let's copy this one and make a configuration file. And I guess I have to be in that folder, the PHPUnit folder, to run it so that the directory will be referenced properly. So let me move there. And then let's run it. And I have to put these 2 folders back. And I have to remove this from here. And this should not be ./tests. It should be tests/. I'm sorry. Alright, I had to restructure my folders a bit. I wasn't thinking straight. So now I have a test folder that has a PHPUnit folder in there. And in that folder, we have all the tests for PHPUnit. And in the test folder, we have the PHPUnit.xml. So I have to change to the tests folder. And then when I now run PHPUnit, it should work. and it will take the bootstrap from, well, I have to fix this. It will take the bootstrap from the upper directory from vendor autoload, and then the cache result file will be in this current folder. And then the tests will come from PHPUnit folder. And here I do not require the vendor autoload anymore because it should come from here. So now it should work. Great. And now all the tests pass. So now we know that this encryption works. Now here I have my demo website, and if I go to the dashboard, I would like to have in the menu a settings page, a link for a settings page to my own plugin. So that then I can download the private key from there. So let's do that. How can I add a link to the WordPress administration area to a settings page of my own plugin? You can use the add options page function. I've actually never done this, so let's see how this will work. Alright, so here is the code. So what does this do? Add action admin menu, my plugin menu. So it has my plugin menu function in the admin menu action. And it adds an option page. Okay, and this just outputs. Okay, well, that's pretty simple. So this should just output the HTML of the settings page. Great. Let's copy this and let's create a new file here called plugin.php. Now, because this is a WordPress plugin, I have to put the comments up here. Now, let's see if GitHub Copilot will do it. And it will, so it already knows what we're doing. Author URI, license URI, text domain. Okay, that's a lot of stuff. I don't need all of these. I'll just use these. Okay, that should work. Now this plugin file should actually be inside the WordPress plugins folder, but now I have it in another folder. So let me actually move all of this, the whole folder, inside the plugins folder of WordPress. Alright, I have moved everything in there now. So now if I open WordPress and I go to the plugins page, I should have it in the list. Here we have WPForm Encryptor, and I will activate this plugin and I will have a critical error. And the error is because I don't have the my plugin menu function. Wait a minute. It is defined here, but let me change it to something else. Or is this namespace not needed here? Maybe that's the reason. Okay, now it works. So now it's activated. So now I should have my plugin is in the settings, right? Yes. So I actually want it to be a main link here, not under the settings. Can I have the link as one of the main links, not under settings? Okay, so I have to use add menu page instead of add options page. And then I think the other parameters are just the same. So let's do that. Add menu page. And now we have my plugin here. Great. So I will change the titles and names here. So this will be WPForm Encryptor settings. So this is the callback function, so I have to name this function the same way. So now I have a WPForm Encryptor page here, but of course the page doesn't do anything because I didn't write anything here. So let's tell ChatGPT that we did this so that he won't use my plugin anymore. So I made the following changes to the code. And then I would like to change this icon. How do I do that? Can you change the menu item so that the icon is something related to encryption. Alright, so it told us that we can use the dash icons and the dash icons lock icon. And you just add it in the last argument, dash icons lock. Okay, that's great. So let's do that and refresh the page, and now we should have a lock here. Yes, that looks nice. So now we have to make the actual page. Now I would like this to be like a class or something. So I will ask it to create a settings page class that then renders the settings page. Okay. Can you create a settings page class in the WPForm encryptor namespace that will be responsible for rendering the settings page? Alright, so now it's actually making some sort of settings page. It's explaining a lot. Alright, so now we got like a full documentation on how to do this. So let's see what it did. So it created a settings page class with a constructor, and this will add the action, and it will add the menu item, and then it will render. Now, this is not exactly what I wanted. I think this would be more appropriate for like a plugin class. I wanted just to have this part, so the render. But now let's see what this does. Settings fields. Now what does this function do? Okay, register your settings fields with the register setting. Now this looks like an awful lot of stuff to do for a simple form. I think I'm not gonna do it like this. Perhaps this is the proper way, but for this quick video I am not going to delve into all these things. Now if this function would actually render the settings field, then it would be good. But here it says output a description and output a form field, so I have to still make the HTML myself. So what is the point of this? So this is not what I want. I want only this render, and then I will do this myself. I want the settings page class to be only responsible for rendering the settings page. I also want to directly output the HTML myself without built-in WordPress functions. Now it's still adding the actions. Now I guess it could work this way. So let's actually do this. So instead of all this stuff, I would say this. I would import the settings page from the WPForm encryptor namespace, and then just say settings page is a new settings page. And I don't even have to do that. Just do this. And then that will do all of this. So I copy this code, and let's go to the source folder and create a new file, settingspage.php. So that should work. So now this is very simplified now. So let's see what this does now on the actual website. So now I'm in the page already, the settings page. And I refresh this, and now I have here WPForm encryptor settings. Great. Now I want to add a link here for generating the keys. So it should generate a public key and a private key and save the public key in the database and download the private key. So the private key is not going to be saved on the server because that would defeat the purpose of this whole thing. But it will download it automatically. So let's do that. Can you add a link to the settings page that creates a public and a private key and saves the public key in the database and downloads the private key? The link should use the WordPress REST API and should only be allowed for an admin. So let's see if it can do this. First, you have to create a custom endpoint for the WordPress REST API that generates the keys and saves the public key in the database. So we are registering a new REST API endpoint. Great. And then we have this function that will generate the keys. And then we have the permission callback that checks if the current user can manage options, then it's an admin. And now it stopped this short. But as you pointed out in the comments in the previous video, I can just say continue, and then it will continue the code. Well, it almost worked. It didn't finish its sentence, but it went to the next part. Okay, so now it's going to make the link as an AJAX request. I think ChatGPT is overthinking this. So we're going to queue a script, our own admin script. Localize script. What does that do? And then it's outputting the JavaScript, but now it's stopped again. So let's say continue. Hopefully it will finish that code. Okay, now it's creating another function for creating the keys. This is not what I wanted. Okay, I think this is too complicated now for my simple plugin that I want to create. All right, let's do this. That is too complicated. Can you instead make a link, generate keys that will go to a URL with a parameter action equals generate keys, and then catch that action in the code. Alright, so let's see what this is doing now. First you need to add a query variable for the action parameter. What does this code do? Why do I have to do this? If I just do this, isn't it going to work? Can you tell me more about the query vars filter? Okay, so it allows this query variable. Okay. All right, so let's start with that. Let's add this filter here. But now I think I should call it something other than action because this might be used already somewhere else. So I will say WPForm encryptor action. And then I need to use this. But now it didn't use the class that it created before. Can you use the encryption class you created before? Okay, now that looks better. This is what I want. So here, if the action is generate keys, which I have to change now because I renamed it. So if the action is generate keys, then we initialize the encryption class, which we have to use here. And then we generate the keys. We get the public key and we get the private key. And then we update the option WPForm encryptor public key. So this will change in the WordPress database, in the options database, this option key to be the public key. And then it outputs the private key as a file. So let me make this a bit prettier. All right, I think that looks better. So now we register the query variable so that it's allowed. And then if we have that query variable and it is generate keys, then we generate the keys, save the public key, and output the private key. Now, we should check here that the user is an admin. I think we can just say if is admin. Now this doesn't check if the user is an admin, it checks if we are in the admin area. And I think we can only know. If the user is an admin, let's ask ChatGPT how to do this properly. How do I make sure that only admins can access this endpoint? Okay, so we should use this current user can function to check it. So we will add this here. So now if the current user can manage the options, which means he's an admin, and we have the generate keys, then we do this. Okay, that is good. So now let's see what happens. If I refresh this page, well, I didn't add the link. Can you add a link to the settings page that links to the key generation endpoint? All right, now this shows how to do it. And I like that it did this, use this add query argument to add the action to the current URL. So, well, not the current URL, to the admin URL. So this function gets the actual URL for the admin.php page, because that might change in different WordPress installations depending on the settings and other plugins. And then it adds to that URL the action argument. And then it adds the link to that URL. Great. So let's do this. Let's go to the settings page. And here I will paste this, but I will only take this part and this part. So I will have the link here. So generate keys URL is going to be this. And I need to call it what I called it actually. And then we output the generate keys link here. Great. So let's see what it looks like. If we go back here and we refresh the page, we have a generate keys link. Now let's see if it works. Generate keys. We downloaded a private key. Let's open it. There is nothing in there. Why is there nothing in there? Let's see if we got some errors. Undefined array key public. Okay. Create keys. It used different keys here. So let's say private and public. So that should work now. Let's try this again. Generate keys. And we downloaded a private key. So here we have a private key now that we can use to decrypt the data. And let's see if we have the public key saved in the database. I think I can go to options.php, and here we should see all of the options. So if I search here, encryptor. Here we have the WPForm encryptor public key, and here we have the public key saved. So now we have saved a public key, which we can use to encrypt data. And we have the private key that we can use to decrypt data. So now, how do we encrypt the data? So here on the demo website, I have a WPForm form here, and a Ninja form, and a Contact 7 form. Let's try to make at least one of these work in today's video. So let's start with Ninja form, because Ninja form also saves it to the database. So currently, if I send one of these forms, it will go into my email, as you can see here. So the message is in plain text here in all of these messages. But now I want to encrypt it. So how do I do that? So now let's see if ChatGPT knows if there is some filter we can use for Ninja Forms to filter all of the form values. So let's do that. Is there a filter I could use to filter all posted form values to a Ninja form in WordPress? Yes, you can use the Ninja Forms process filter to filter the submitted form values in Ninja Forms form. So this will get, I guess, the posted form and its ID and its fields. And I'm assuming that the fields will be an array. Let's ask, what is the content of fields? Okay, well, that is a very thorough explanation. So I asked, what is the content of the fields variable? And then it showed this array. Okay, so that's going to be the ID, the value, and the label. So let's do it like this for now. Let's say if the label contains the word secret, then it will be encrypted. Can you modify the filter so that it will encrypt all field values whose label has the word secret in it? Case insensitive. Use the public key saved in the options table and the custom encryption class. Alright, here we have the code. So it will loop through all of the fields, and well, first it gets the public key from the database and initializes the encryptor. And then it loops through all the fields, and if the label has the text secret, then it will encrypt the value, and then it will return the data. Great, that should be all I need. So let me copy this code and add it here in the plugin file. And I will name this WPForm Ninja Forms process. So that should work. Let's try it. So I will visit the site again. I will go to Ninja Form and I will write something here. And then I will say, this is a secret message. Submit. Submitted. So let's go check my email. New message from test. This is a secret message. Well, it didn't work. All right, let's add here something like this, so we can see if this actually gets called. Let's do it again. It doesn't get called, so the function does not get called at all when I post Ninja Forms form. All right, it gave me many tips on how to figure out what is wrong. Are you sure that Ninja Forms process is the right filter? There was an error. Yes, I am confident that the Ninja Forms process filter is the correct filter to use to modify the submitted data in Ninja Forms. Let's verify this information. Let's go to Ninja Forms and grep this. Deprecated. Deprecated functions, all right. Ninja Forms process. Removed hooks. Okay. It seems that Ninja Forms process is in the removed hooks. It's deprecated. You are correct. That this is so funny about ChatGPT. It tells you, yes, this is correct, this is correct. Then you tell it, well, actually it's not correct. Then it's, oh, yes, you are correct, it's not correct. So then, NF pre-process. NF pre-process. Okay, that is not in the deprecated functions. So let's change this hook and say NF pre-process. And let's remove this var dump here. I am confident that it works. Ninja Form. New message. This is a test message. Let's put the var dump back in here and try again. That doesn't run either. Okay, now let's go to plan B. Plan B is that we are going to actually catch the request when it is sent from the form. This will also make it work for all the forms, but we might encounter some problems. First of all, now we have to decide whether to encrypt a field by the name of the field. Now, it depends on the form plugin how they name the fields and if you can change the name of the field. I think you can pretty much change it in all of them. So now let's take a look at this form. and the secret message. What is the name of this? NF field 7. So that's a problem. It doesn't post the data. Let's see if I do this. If I post this, what does it send? Okay, now this is a problem. So it's actually posting it as a JSON string, not actual post fields. So I have to forget this idea. So I just have to do it with a filter. There's no other way. And I cannot make it universal for every form plugin. Let's say WP form. Now here we have the first, which is the name of this field. If I go to secret message, the name, no, it's just fields 2, okay. So this is not going to work. So I think we have to go to Google and ask about this. What filter can I use to change Ninja Forms posted values? Now this is the problem with Google. What is it? Filter Ninja Forms entries by field value. Changing field values. Submission processing hooks. Ninja Forms submit data. That's it. Ninja Forms submit data. That's it. Let's do this. Ninja Forms submit data. And then let's go to Ninja Forms and let's open the network tab and let's put a message here and submit. And let's see here the response should be now this. Okay. So now I actually get the data. And we have the test message here in the value. And the key is secret message and some date code here. Okay, so now it should work. Now if I remove the var dump here and then I test this. This is a very secret message. Submit. And then I go to submissions and I refresh. It's still there. How about here in the email? This is a very secret. What? Why did it not work? It wasn't label, it was name. It was name and value. The label is not there, only the name. So let's try this one more time. Yes. And now refresh this. It doesn't work. So here the response is an array with an ID and fields. That's what we are doing. Fields is form data fields. Okay? And it is an array with an array of value, ID, and key. It's key, not label. Key. Let's try this the 100th time. And now we will go to the email, we will refresh, and it doesn't work. Now, here it's doing something interesting. It is passing this as a reference. So it's changing the fields, but then it is not putting the fields back into the form data. I have to flip them around here. So I have to say form data fields equals fields. And then, if I try it, then it will work. And now, finally, if we go here and refresh, now we have a secret message. What does this say? I do not know. So now it works. And it works by the field name. So let's check now if the message is also encrypted here. And it is. Now it's a secret message. Great. So now, what if we want to add more secret fields? So let's go here and edit the contact me form and let me add a new field here. And I will say subject And now I want to know, is this a problem? What if I say that this field is restricted to 10 characters? Then what if I change it? Is it going to allow it to pass in? Where do they do the checks? And then here I can actually set a custom name attribute. So this is probably going to be the key. So if I say here, subject secret, then even though the label is just subject, then this way I can make it a secret one. So let's save this and try it out. Okay, let's see what happened. I go here and I refresh. I did not get the subject, but I think that is because it is not in the template for the email, so I can just add it there. But let me go to the submissions. So if I go here, no, it did not change this. So I think even if I set the custom name attribute, it doesn't change the key. So I have to change the label, which is not a great thing. But let's try it first. So if I say secret subject and I submit this form, let's see what happened. I will go back to the submissions. And now secret subject is also secret. Now let's provide a method to decrypt the secret information. So how should we do that? We should add a method to the settings to decrypt something. Now here's where it gets a bit tricky, because you don't really want to do the decryption on the server, because that means you have to put the secret key in the server, and that would defeat the purpose, because if you save it in the server, then if some hacker gets access to it, then they can get all the data. But of course we can upload the key file and then delete it afterwards. But I'm afraid that if it's written to the disk already, even temporarily, somehow you could get it back. So that's not a good idea. So can we upload a file with PHP without saving it to the disk at all? I think we can. I think one way at least would be that we read the private key on the client side with JavaScript and then we post it to the server. So then PHP is not going to save it to the temp, but we just read it from the request and then decrypt it, and then we don't save it anywhere. I think it's a bit safer, but the best way would be to do this locally on your computer. So maybe I will show how to do that later, but let's do this first. Let's say, is it possible to upload a file to a PHP script without saving it on the disk? Yes, it is possible. Move the uploaded file to a stream instead of to the disk. Okay. But there is a temp name already, so it's already in the disk. It doesn't work. But isn't the file already on the disk in temp? Yes. So I think this is not safe. So let's try the other method. Can you read the file with client-side JavaScript and then post the contents of the file to the server? Yes, it is possible. Okay, so this is the way to go. Can you add a file upload form to the plugin settings page and a text box for text to decrypt, and when a button decrypt text is pressed, it will post the file, a private key, and the text to decrypt to an admin endpoint with the query variable set to decrypt. Let's see if it can do all of this. It's going to be a bunch of code. Uh-oh, network error. And it says, this content may violate our content policy. I guess because we're talking about encryption and decryption. Let's regenerate the response. Oh. Okay, now it's completely disoriented. Regenerate response. No, it's still, it's making all the code as normal text now and the normal text as code. All right, let's refresh this page because now everything is screwed up. Can you please answer the previous question again? There was a network error. Not this question. So let's see, maybe we can use this. So let's try and copy this code. I at least need this table. So let's remove this form. We don't need a form here. We just need the table. So this will be the private key file, and then we will have the text to decrypt. Text to decrypt. And this will be a text box. And then we want to have a button for decrypt text. It's this one. No, sorry. Here. Under the table. Decrypt text. So let's see what this looks like. So now we will have here a selection box for the private key file. And then the text we want to decrypt. And then a button, decrypt text. So now we want the code. And let's go back here. It already did some code here. This one. So let's put this in a JavaScript file. And then we have to enqueue this JavaScript file in the admin. So it's WordPress enqueue script. And this will be assets.js. Well, I didn't put it there. That's a good location. Let me move it there. So now this will say input is file input, but this I need to change to the private key file. So when the private key file changes, then we will handle the post. But I don't want to do that. I want to handle it when I click the button. So in fact, I want to move this inside here. And I want to have a submit button. And this will be submit. And then on the submit button, I add an event listener, click. So when I click it, then I will get the private key file. And if there's a file, then I will read the file and then I will post it to the server. And this URL should be this page. So this page. And the body will be the contents. But that's not really what I want to do. Because I want to, well, I guess the body, it's just going to be key equals this and text equals text to decrypt. Like this. And I will move this like this. So now it should post the key and the text. Great. And I should add the action here. Action is decrypt. And then I have to catch this action. So I will copy this one. And I will say here, decrypt text. And if the action is decrypt, then I get the encryption class. I don't create keys. I will just say private key is not this. It is post key, and it's not file get contents, it's just this. And then text is post text, and then decrypted is encryption decrypt text with the private key. And then I will just echo decrypted. And I want to change this name. It's called init, but it's not init. This is the generate keys. So now when we post to the decrypt page with the key and the text, then we decrypt the text and then we show the text. Now let's see what happens now. I refresh this. We have an error. Add filter. Oh, I forgot to add this part. Let's try this again. We have another error. Q has an extra U and E for some reason in the English language. All right, now we have this form here. And let's go to the posted data here, to the submissions. And let's take this secret subject text and we will paste it here, text to decrypt, and we will find that private key file, which is this, and we will click decrypt text. And actually it's not going to do anything because it's an AJAX call, so I have to look here in the network tab and decrypt. And response did not work. So it posted the data, but something is wrong here. First of all, I should escape those characters. I should say encode URI component. And here as well, encode URI component. And this should not be in the post. This should be in the get. Like this. Well, actually, I don't need the page here. Just like this. All right, let's try this again. Copy this so that I remember it. So here is our secret text. And here is our private key. And decrypt text. And preview response is nothing. Why is it nothing? Let's say something here. Decrypted. Let's try this again. All right, so we did get decrypted. So it is going there, but it's not working. Let's put here print our post so we can see what is in the post. Let's do it again. There's nothing in the post. So that means that this doesn't work. You can't do it like this. How do I send post fields in JavaScript fetch API? Exactly like this. Do I need to allow these variables also? I've always used jQuery, so that's why I can't accomplish this simple task with the fetch API. I think here's the problem. It is sending the content type header as text plain, so it's not going to detect the form fields from this. So I have to set header, probably headers, and content type x form www our URL encoded. How did it go? No, it's xww. It's application / xwww form URL encoded. So let's try this again. Decrypt text. So now it works. We get the data here. So now we can remove this debugging from here. So print R and this. Now if we do it again, it will say secret sub. So now it successfully decrypts the text. Perfect. So now let's change it so that it will output the text below this field. So I will just do this by hand because we've already asked enough from ChatGPT. I will just say, well, actually, I don't know how to use this. It's something like then and then do something. Let's ask ChatGPT to do it. So, can you modify this code so that the fetch result will be printed in an HTML element with the ID decrypted text? Alright, so here we have the code. So we have to add this then response. So there's an arrow function. We take the response which comes from the fetch, and then we get the text of the response. And I guess this is a promise as well. And then when we get the text, then we do this. Okay, something like that. So let's copy this code and add it here. And now we have to make this decrypted text field here. So Let me just add it here. Let's just put a div ID decrypted text. So now if I go back here and I refresh this and I don't have the code anymore. So if I paste it here and then I select the key file and I click decrypt text, it will say here secret sub. Great. Let's add some padding to this. All right, great. So now we can do it. Now let me do so that the text will disappear after I decrypt it. So here I will just set text to decrypt value is empty. And here I will say decrypted like this. So now if I take the private key and I put some text to decrypt and I click decrypt text, it says decrypted secret sub. And then let's try the other one. Go back to submissions and try to scroll somehow in the end and paste this and decrypt text. Test secret message. Great, now it works. So now I think we need a better way to decide which field will be encrypted, because now it's just every field that has the word secret in it, but that's not a great way to do it. Now I could add here like a form field that says separate by a comma or on a new line every field name that you want to encrypt. That would be a pretty good thing. And then it would be easy to add it to all the form plugins, because we just add a filter for every plugin that we want to support. But now a really cool thing would be if we could go here to the Ninja form and then we could select a field and then click here something like this required field, but it would be something else. Like there is this field is personally identifiable data. Now we could use this directly, but I wonder if I could add my own field here so that I could check encrypt this or not. How can I add my own checkbox to the Ninja Forms advanced tab so that I can select per form field which form field should be encrypted. All right, it seems like it knows what it's doing, but let's see if it actually knows what it's doing. Now, if this works, I'm going to be very impressed, because I think this is something that I would have been Googling for hours to figure out. So let's add this to our plugin. And let's give it a more descriptive name, or a name such that it will not be replaced or there won't be any compatibility issues with some other plugins. So let me see what this does. If I just refresh this page now, is there going to be an advanced checkbox in here? No. Let's see, is there an NF add field setting? Let's go to the console, and NF is not defined. There's NF admin, Ninja Forms admin dashboard data. This gives me an error in the console. NF is not defined. And this gives me an error in ChatGPT. NF forms. NF forms. There's no NF forms either. It's not the correct way. And I really don't think that this should be in the JavaScript. I think it should be in PHP. Can you do it in PHP instead of JavaScript? Now this looks very promising. So now it uses this NF field add option group filter. And then for some reason this part of the code is not highlighted, but it adds a new field to the settings and then it renders the HTML for that field. This looks very promising. Let's see if this works. And let's leave it as encrypt for now. Refresh the page. Nope. Oh, here I can actually change the key of this. So then I could do this. So I could say just subject is the label and then secret subject is the field key. So then if I save this and let's do the same with the message. I just say message and administration and I will call it secret message, publish. So now if I go back to the form and send it, now it still works. So that's a pretty good thing. So now you don't have to change how it looks to the user in order to change the behavior. And then I put the new secret. And I submit this. And then I go here and now both of them will be encrypted. Yes, now subject is encrypted and message is encrypted. And if I copy this and I go to encryptor and I paste it here and I select the private key and I decrypt, it will say test message. Yes, it works. So now I'm pretty happy with putting just a form here, like a text field, where you separate the names of the fields and it will detect by that. So let's do that. Can you add a form to the settings page classes render function method that asks for a newline separated list of form field names that should be encrypted. When the form is posted, it will save that data in the options table as WPForm encryptor field names. I forgot to paste in the code that I have right now. Alright, here we have the code. It didn't finish its description, but I think this is enough. So I will copy this form here and I will paste it under this. So this top part is just the encryption and decryption. And then these are the actual settings. And then I need the new field names. So I need this part. Let me put it here. So this is the original value. And then it just added this here. I guess we could do that. It's not really a part of the render function. I'll make a new function. And here I'll add a check if the user is an admin. Exactly this. Only save the settings if the user is an admin. And then I will add it to the init save settings. So now if I go back to the settings page, now I have a very ugly field here. Field names to encrypt. Let's change that. Let's use this same kind of form here. I will move the label in here and the text area in here. And I will add the class to the button. And let's refresh the page. Okay, that looks better. So now I should be able to, I will add some more rows here. Rows is 10. That's too much. 5. Okay, that's good. So now I can put here, let's say, secret subject and secret message. And if I save this, it saves it. So if I go here again, it's still there. So now it has saved these in the database. Now I have to change the code so that it's not hard-coded which field we are going to use. So I will go back to the plugin, and here where I say if it contains the word secret, then we encrypt. Here I will say field names is this, and I will explode this field names is explode at a new line, field names. And then I will change this to this. Perfect. So if the field key is in the field names, then we will encrypt it. So now if I go back to the Ninja form, if I now send this, it's not going to work because we are checking the exact key and there was something else in the end of it. So if I say here name, subject, email, I have to put a real email, and message, submit. Then now if we check the submissions, it's not encrypted. But if we now go to edit the form and we change the names of the fields, so we go here and we go here, administration, and we remove this extra bit here, and we save this, and message, here we remove this extra bit as well, publish, and now if I go here and post it again, name, subject, message, and we go back to submissions, refresh, it is not encrypted for some reason. Oh, the message is encrypted. What did I do wrong? Secret subject, secret message. I know what the problem is. There's a new line in. No, there's not a new line. Is there? It's not going to include it. Let's try rtrim. It's the other way. So, okay, let's try again. Secret subject. It is not doing it. Let's see what is going on here. Let's say echo field key and print our field names. And now let's open the network tab and then let's post this form again. So here we have name, email, secret message, submit, secret subject. Secret subject, secret message. Let's do some more. Echo encrypt field key and else don't encrypt. So let's see what this does. Can I repeat this? Replay. That is very interesting. Secret subject. What? I'm sorry. I don't have to run rtrim on this. I need to run rtrim on all of these. So I will do field names is array map rtrim field names. So now it will trim all of the field names because I think there's a new line. Although there's not a new line because it didn't print it here. No, it's here. Let's see, replay. Okay, now it works. So there's a new line included in there. Let's remove all this debugging information. And then let's replay this. And now supposedly it worked. Refresh. Yes, now subject is encrypted and message is encrypted. So if we copy this and we paste it here and select the key, yes, Now it works. Now we can set here in the settings which keys should be encrypted. So that's pretty good, but now it only works with Ninja Forms. Let's make it work with other forms. So let's go to WPForms. Can I just ask ChatGPT what is the equivalent of Ninja Forms submit data in WP Forms? Alright, so we can use WP Forms process complete. And I want to know what is in the fields array. So then I can make this work with WP Forms as well. ID, label, type, value. Okay, so here we have a label. So this actually does come from the label. So it's not going to be as good as Ninja Forms. So let's do this. Let's add a filter for this one. And I will copy the code from the Ninja Forms. And I will add this here. And this one I will change to WP Forms. And I don't need the form ID. Although I might need it if I want to make it so that only certain forms will be encrypted. So I will leave it there for the future. But actually here it takes all of the values as separate parameters. So it's going to be like this. But I only need the fields, so I won't even take these. So fields, I don't even have to have these here. So I only get the fields, and then I loop through the fields, and I don't need this, and I return the field, what do I return? This might be, this process complete, this is not the right one. This will not change anything, it will just do something after the form is submitted. So is there a filter in WP Forms that I can use to change the values of the posted fields? Okay, WP Forms process complete fields. So let's take that. Process complete fields. Okay, well, here is an example if you want to remove the name and email when you save it to the database. That's pretty cool. Okay, so now I can use exactly this, but I have to change this to label. And I want this to be case insensitive, so I will say string to lower and this to, sorry, this one. And I think I will do the same with the Ninja Forms one. And this should return fields. So that should work now, but let's check the names of the fields. So let's close that and let me go to WP Forms. And here I have the secret message. Label is secret message. Okay, so if I add it here, secret message as a label, and then I save this, and then I go to that one, WP form, and I test this, and I say, this is a secret message, and I submit it, and let's go here, I should have multiple emails. So here's our contact form. It did not work. Let's again see if this actually runs. Let me replay this. No, it's not running. This is the wrong filter. Again, oh yeah, it's wrong. Yeah, I gave you the wrong one. This is the right one. Should we verify this again? Let's go to No, this is not the right one. Let's grep apply filters and grep fields. Here, submission, entry save. Let's take a look at this code. This is just, nope, that's not the one. This just says, do you save it in the database or not? True. This is the entry save data. Okay, so this one I can use. WPForms entry save data. And it gets the fields, and they are probably in that order. Let's try. If I replay this, now I get them. Okay, name, value, type, first, middle, last. Wait, what? Name, value. It's a name, okay. So I will have to use name. Now this should work. So now I remove this debugging and I save this and let's open it. Let's just replay this. And let's go to the email. Now it might be different for the email because this was save data. So nothing changed here. But let's now in the light version of WPForms, it doesn't actually save them. I can't go to the entries. You need to upgrade. So that's not what I want. So I should actually find some email class emails. WPForms HTML field value. Plain text field value. So I could hook into those two, but does it get the field value? Where does it get it from? Field val. So this is the first one. It's empty. Description, code, content. Okay, so I think I have to use these. No, it's not good. I think they are filtered somewhere else. This is for the emails. I want both the emails and for the submissions, if there are some submissions. So let's grep this. Let's try Google again. How can I filter the WPForms form field values before submission? Okay, this is the one I need to use. Sometimes Google is still better than ChatGPT. All right, let's put this in here and let's hope it's called name and let's replay. All right, now our message is encrypted with WPForms as well. Great. So let's try. If we copy this one and then we go to the WPForm encryptor and we get the key, decrypt. Yes, it works. All right, now let's do Contact Form 7, the last one. How can I do the same with Contact Form 7? Let's see if with this one it's correct. Posted data. So I will add one more. Okay, and here it's going to be a key value pair. So I need to say, well, these are the field names. That's the same thing. But then for each of the fields, I have to say as name value. And then if the name is in the field names, then field's name will equal to value encrypted. And then I return the fields. Let's see if this works. So I will go to Contact Form 7. And name, email, subject. This is a very secret message from Contact Form 7. Submit. And let's go to the email and see what happened. Was ChatGPT right this time? It was not right. So I will ask the same thing. Contact form 7. Let's try this again. Your name, your email. It worked the first time, but I just didn't add the your message in there. It didn't encrypt it, but that's because I forgot to add the field value, which is your message. Because here it says your subject, your message here. So the field name is your message in contact form 7. So I have to add it in the list. So if I save this now, and then I go here, and then I try this again. This is a very secret message. Submit. And then I go here, and I check the email. Now it is encrypted. And I can copy it, and I can go here, and paste it here, and select the key file, decrypt, and now I get the message. Great. Now it works with 3 different plugins. Now this video is starting to get very long, so I will end it here. I have a couple more things that I would like to do. First of all, I would like to have a local program that I could download on my computer that is not online, and I could use that to decrypt the data. And it should be like a standalone application, because of course I can do it with like a PHP script, but if you think about the end user of this, it would be just some website owner who might not be a programmer, so they don't know how to use PHP like that. So maybe I could like try and create this with Rust or something, like an executable file that will take the private key and the text to decrypt and then decrypt it. So if you want to see that video, please comment and maybe I will do it. And another thing I would like to do is clean up this code a bit. It's not very pretty right now. So if you want me to do that, leave me a comment and I will do it if enough people tell me to do it. So thanks for watching today's video and let me know what you think in the comments. And subscribe if you want to see more of these videos. And hit the like button and do all that kind of stuff. And I will see you in the next one.